Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today. So let us begin. Welcome to 9 Minutes with Nefertiti.
Hey everybody, hi. Thank you for joining me. I apologize if you have been looking for our 9-minute conversations. I have had some travel work-related difficulties, and then I had a little bit of a sick baby, and I'm not feeling my total best just yet. My sinuses are yucky, but I felt good enough today to sit quietly and prepare ourselves for a 9-minute conversation today. So I hope that you are well. Again, thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about the topic of asking for help. Now, you say, what do you mean, Nefertiti, asking for help? Well, some people are really good at asking for help. They're so good at it that every time you turn it around, they are asking for help. Now, I'm not talking about that person today. That person has got things covered. We may need to have a conversation about how to handle those people sometime in the future. But today, I'm talking about those of us who find ourselves in the need of genuine, specific help. Have you ever been in a place like that where you've needed help? Well, as simple as it may sound, for many of us, asking for help is not an easy thing to do. Asking for help is not something that has always been easy for me. The only reason why I think I can even have this conversation today with you is that I'm better than I used to be. And maybe through our conversation today, we can figure out how to get better with it so that we are comfortable with it and it doesn't have any yuckiness attached to it when we need to ask for help. So let's talk some more about this. Why is asking for help sometimes hard? Well, there are a few reasons. And again, I'm not making blanket statements here because each person has their own reason for why asking help may be hard for them. But from what we know, from some of the research and from just talking to people, asking for help for some of us makes us think we're weak. Because I'm not supposed to need help. I can handle this. And asking for help makes us seem as if we're weak. For others, asking for help, and this was me, left me worried about being let down. Does that make sense? Sometimes I would feel, oh my gosh, if I ask for help, will this person actually do what I am asking? Will they do it the way that I'm asking? Will they do it at all? Will they let me down? So that was my problem. And I don't know, does that sound familiar to anybody else? One thing I knew for sure is that I wasn't going to let Nefertiti down. So if I can handle it, then for sure it's going to get done properly because I'm not going to let myself down. That's where I used to be. And I wonder if I'm alone in that thought process. There is another occurrence that happens when we have to ask for help. It's a feeling that is brought about sometimes when we have to ask for help. And that feeling is one of vulnerability. Heard that word before? Ever felt that place before? I love the way that researcher and author Brené Brown defines vulnerability. She defines vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. I'm going to repeat that so we can make sure we get it. She defines vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. So again, just follow me through my example and maybe we can get clear about it and get better with it. For me, uncertainty. Will this person do what I'm asking? Will this person do what I need? That's my self-talk as I prepare myself for asking for help or needing to ask for help. The risk. Here's the risk. What if they don't do it? What if they don't do it right? That was my risk. That's the risk to me. And then emotional exposure. And this I think is really important. And we got to get this piece. The way that this makes me feel is awful. And so the emotional exposure may make us never want to actually ask for help. And this is why we gotta get better with this. The vulnerability that can sometimes come when we have to ask for help is something we have to address so that we can live with hope and joy. So again, I'm thankful for getting to a better place. I'm not perfect yet. I'm certainly not there. I'll tell you that being a new parent has taught me more about needing to ask for help. I know that I've always known this, and you and I have to know this too. At some point in our life, we're going to have to ask for help. But boy, oh boy, being a new mommy has really taught me and made me realize what we have always meant when we said, it takes a village to raise a child. And so for me, I've been learning it, and I think I'm getting better with it. But being a mom has really taught me that you may need to ask for help. But you know what else I've noticed and told myself? That is okay. It's okay to have to ask for help. So here's what I'm thinking in this conversation. Each one of us is going to have to deal with our vulnerability. We're going to have to start learning to trust people. And we're going to have to muster up the courage necessary to ask for help when we need it. So how do we do it? Here are just a few things to think about as we prepare our lives for a place where I'm not encouraging in this conversation, just go around asking folks for help all the time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you find yourself in that moment of genuine, specific need, that we think about this conversation. First things first, remember this. You are a good person. Here's my self-talk to myself when I find myself needing help. You should be able to do this. You shouldn't need help. Well, here's what I know for sure. Stop dealing with the should haves. I should have this. I should have that. Yeah, should have. But that's not what the case is. Deal with your situation as it is. The should haves are wonderful to reflect about, but they are not going to get us anywhere. We have to deal with what is. So remember, in this first step, deal with your what is, and remember, you are a good person. To need help doesn't mean that you're not a good person. Now, if for any reason you're listening to me and you're like, well, Nefertiti, that's part of the problem. I don't even feel like I'm a good person. I don't feel like I'm worthy of this help or needing help. That's a conversation all of itself. And I would suggest that we go back to our conversations 1, 2, and 3, where we started our conversations all about love. Go back to those and remind yourself how important you are, how good you are. And in God's eye, you are worthy of everything you need and can ask for. So remember, you are a good person. And sometimes you find yourself in the need of genuine, specific help. And it's okay to ask for help. And remember, asking for help does not reveal weakness. It actually reveals a strong, courageous person who it's not easy for them to do it, but they've mustered up enough vulnerability, courage, and trust to be able to do it. So first things first, remember, you need help. You're still a good person. So let's start there. Hey everybody, I got to 9 minutes before I was able to bring this conversation full circle. So I decided to cut this conversation into 2 parts. So let's continue learning about how we can get better at asking for help. Part number 2 is available right now of this conversation, number 6, asking for help.